Hey guys, Poor here, and I'm back with week 5 of the Global Power Rankings. This will be the exact same format as the last 2 weeks where we go over every single team in the major regions, what I think are the top 25 Global Power Rankings. I'll have some little arrows showing whether they are better or worse than they were last week. I'll talk about their major wins and losses, and with that, let's get straight into the ranking. In 25th, moving way on down, is RNG. See, here's the problem with RNG is that their record is 2 and 4, which is a bad record and should not be a top 25 level record. However, when you look at their wins and losses, their strength of schedule is pretty much by far the hardest that the LPL has ever had. They have good wins over OMG and WE, and their 4 losses aren't bad losses. They've lost to IG, LNG, JDG, and EDG, in which I think all 4 of those teams are very, very strong LPL teams. So despite their 2 and 4 record, I still can't bring myself to knock them out of the list, especially after their win against WE, which, as you'll see, WE picked up a really good win this week that makes that win look a little bit stronger for RNG. In 24th from the LCS, we have a new entry, 100 Thieves. Basically, all you need to know about 100 Thieves is that they lost to Cloud9 and FlyQuest, 2 of the stronger teams from the LCS, and the 4 teams that they've beaten are 4 of the weaker teams, so they're solidly holding that 4th place spot in the LCS. Another newcomer in 23rd from the LEC is Koi. They had a really unimpressive regular season, going 4 and 5 and almost missing out on the group stage. However, they had a massive resurgence and they 2-0'd both SK and Vitality, earning them a spot in this week's list. In 22nd from the LCS is Cloud9, with a good win over 100 Thieves, and they lost to FlyQuest, and then this week, new addition, they also lost to EG. Piggybacking off of that, in 21st is EG, which looked really bad in week 1, but have since rebounded and have looked super great in week 2 and 3, picking up a win against Cloud9. The only reason why they've avoided this list so far is because they did catch that stray loss to CLG in week 1, which is not a great loss. In 20th, I'm still holding faith, is BDS, who had a pretty impressive showing in the regular season, but they did lose their first series against G2 2-1. It was a pretty competitive and fun series, so I'm looking forward to what BDS has to do in the losers bracket. In 19th from the LCK is Life. They have 4 mediocre losses, not very any bad losses, and they've beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat, but they are hanging on to that top 25 placement because of that key win against T1. In 18th, standing atop the LCS is FlyQuest 6-0. They've beaten all of the other top teams, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and EG, and it looks like nothing's going to stop them from going 9-0 in the first rotation. In 17th, moving down a few spots, is Vitality. They finished first in the regular split, but then had a tough series against Heretics, only winning 2-1, and then losing to Koi in a 2-0 sweep. In 16th, moving up a couple of places, is Thunder Talk Gaming. Same thing as last week, but they did add 2 more not very important wins, which allows them to move up a little bit. In 15th, WE, 3-3. This is the big news. They picked up a win against BLG. Even though the record isn't super impressive, the 3 losses, EDG, OMG, and RNG are not bad losses, and that win against Thunder Talk is what allows them to stay 1 spot ahead for now. In 14th from the LEC is Mad Lions, who looked pretty impressive during the regular season, but did drop a game to Astralis in a series and then got swept by G2. In 13th is LNG, who did finally lose a game. Their loss was to Ninjas in Pajamas, which is a horrible loss for them, which is why they get knocked down so much, but they do still have some notable wins against Thunder Talk, RNG, and OMG that stopped them from falling off the list completely. In 12th, now standing on top of the LEC for now, is G2. They finished the regular season 6-3, but then in group stage, they are now 8-3 as they have a sweep against Mad Lions and a 2-1 against BDS. In 11th from the LCK is the Shocker Live Sandbox. They have good wins against Homalife, Fred Brion, and KT, and so far they've lost to the top dogs, dropping games against Genji and DK. Their next game will be against T1, so we'll get to see how good Live Sandbox really is after that game happens. In 10th, we have the Anomaly KT, which I still cannot for the life of me understand. I started them out as like 11th or 12th, then knocked them all the way down to 20, and here they are back at 10 because they can't decide whether they're a good team or not. This week, they picked up wins against Genji and Damwon Kia, so it's like, what the hell? But then at the same time, they do still have that random loss to KDF, so I have no idea what's going on with this team. For now, I'm just throwing them 10th. We'll see what happens. Coming in 9th is IG. They are 5-1, same thing as last week. They picked up a couple of wins, but not anything too crazy. Top Esports may not have lost any games this week, but I did knock them down a bunch because it is getting to the point where all of the top teams are making big moves, and Top Esports still is yet to play against any of them. Their 4 wins are all against 4 bottom-tier teams, and they lost to Weibo Gaming, the only good team that they played against. In 7th, also getting knocked down a bunch, is BLG, who lost 2 series this week, one against EDG and one against WE. BLG went down because they lost to EDG, and EDG goes up because they beat BLG. They're sitting pretty at 4-1, with their only loss being to IG. In 5th from the LCK is Dalmon Kia, with good wins against Liv Sandbox, Fed Brion, and HLE, and then only losing to other top teams like T1, Gen.G, and KT, so they're solidly holding that 3rd place spot. Also from the LCK, we have Gen.G in a similar situation, only losing to top teams like T1 and KT, and picking up good wins against HLE, Fredit, and Dalmon Kia. In 3rd, we get the big story of the week as Weibo Gaming unseats the undefeated JDG and defeats them 2-1 in a series. They also have a win against Top Esports and a loss to BLG. For now, I'm still going to allow JDG to sit atop the LPL at 4-1, even though they have that loss to Weibo Gaming, purely because if you watch that series, Ruler is making a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes that I really don't think he's going to keep on making, so it's tough for me to say that JDG is worse than Weibo Gaming, even though Weibo Gaming did win, because Weibo also does have that loss to BLG, whereas JDG beat BLG, so it's tough to say. There's a little bit of triangle action going on atop the LPL, and until JDG loses another one and Weibo Gaming wins more, I'm going to leave JDG up here for now. And in number 1, we have the 7-1 T1, only losing to Hama Life. If they manage to pick up that last win against Liv Sandbox, they'll look really impressive, so looking forward to that game. And with that, that is the top 25 for this week. As always, here's a list of the entire top 25 on one page with all of the regions color-coded. And with that, I will see you next week. Have a good one.